Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kazmi 107.1 FM and across the world at freenews.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Minority caucus urges President Mahama to come clean on his position regarding the prosecutorial mandate of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Also on the program this afternoon, Court of Appeal dismisses Chairman Wontumi's application to stay proceedings at the High Court over his ongoing criminal trial in relation to the Samreboi mining case. Much later on the program, National School Feeding Secretariat expresses concern over hygienic standards of caterers as it pays unannounced visit to selected beneficiary schools. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, the Court of Appeal has dismissed Chairman Wontumi's application to stay proceedings at the High Court pending the challenge of the decision for him to open his defense. The NPP Ashanti Regional Chairman escalated the matter to the Court of Appeal after the High Court dismissed an earlier attempt to halt the case pending the appeal. Let's speak to our Court Affairs correspondent, Lord Adu, who's been monitoring events for us in the court. Lord, if you can tell us, first of all, what this means for the ruling and really under which circumstances the judge, first of all, decided to reject this appeal.
Right, Beatrice. And so basically this was not the appeal in itself. So this was a repeat stay of proceedings application which was filed by Wontumi's lawyers. Now, you'd recall that when prosecution closed its case, the High Court ordered lawyers of Wontumi to file their defense if they are so minded, meaning that they should file the witnesses that they wish to rely on, disclosures, among other things. Now, upon doing that, Wontumi and his lawyers went to the Court of Appeal.
Hello, Lord. Lord, I'll be grateful if you're able to reposition yourself so we can hear you clearly, Lord. All right. It looks like we're having challenges with Lord Adu line, but let's listen to the lawyer for Chairman Wontumi, Beatrice Adu, who reacted to the decision of the court earlier.
Applied for a stay as a repeat of the earlier one. The court does not agree with us. The court says that the application for stay is refused, which means that indirectly two options: either repeat it or go back to the instant court to prepare our witness statements and continue with the case and see the outcome of the case itself. We will then proceed to the Supreme Court and pursue the matter there. If we decide to go back to the High Court to continue the proceedings, so we do. So the options are open to us.
And Heather and Beatrice Adu, he's the lead counsel for Chairman Wontumi, NPP's Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Ntwibuosiako. Lord Adu is back on the line with us. Hopefully the line is clearer this time around, Lord. You were telling us about the basis the judge used to, as it were, have the decision we're talking about now.
Right, Beatrice. And so the Court of Appeal judges indicated that lawyers of Wontumi had not demonstrated that the circumstances that they had provided were enough for the court to stay the proceedings, which is the High Court hearing of Wontumi's case. Now, this in itself was not the appeal, the interlocutory appeal that Wontumi's lawyers had filed challenging the High Court decision. This was a repeat attempt to halt the High Court's hearing of his case. Now, initially they filed a stay of proceedings, I should say, at the High Court for the court to hold on with the case as the Court of Appeal hears and determines their challenge of the High Court decision, which ordered them to open the defense. And so what this means is that as it stands now, Wontumi's lawyers will have to go back to court for Wontumi to open his defense by filing the witnesses that he's going to rely on and then the disclosures. The other thing is that the lawyers could also escalate the matter, seeing that they are aggrieved or not happy with the High Court of Appeals decision at the Supreme Court, asking the Supreme Court to, as it were, quash the High Court decision so that the case can be halted at the High Court until the determination of that until the determination of the Court of Appeal case challenging the High Court decision, Beatrice.
Now, Lord, so what should we expect beyond what you've just told us on this very case?
But basically, the lawyers are saying that they are weighing their options. Two of them, one being that they will either get Wontumi to file the witnesses that he will rely on, or to now escalate the matter to the Supreme Court. So they say, I think that they are still conferring with their clients, and then they will make that decision on the next steps to take. And so until that happens, that's supposed to be in court for Wontumi to open his defense during the case management conference, and where he will disclose the number of witnesses that he relies on. And this will be on 7th May. And so they have until 7th May to decide whether they'll go to the Supreme Court or file their defense in the case, Beatrice.
I want you to hold on a bit more, because we know that the Accra High Court has also adjourned the hearing of the case against former National Petroleum Authority CEO Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid and 7 others, pending the determination of a stay of execution motion filed by lawyers of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And we know that the lawyers of the accused persons in the 291 million CD MPA case cited the orders of the High Court, which barred the OSP from prosecuting cases. Can you tell us more about what transpired today? Right.
Now, you recall that a little over a week ago, there were High Court orders from the general jurisdiction by Justice Nyante regarding the rice scandal, where the judge made the pronouncement that the OSP should hand over all cases that it is prosecuting to the Attorney General, essentially barring the OSP from prosecuting all cases. Now, these are some of the ripple effects that, or the cascading effects that this is taking, because all the cases that the OSP is prosecuting will now be going to courts to remind or notify the courts of that decision by the High Court. And so today was one of such. Lawyers of the former MPA boss, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid, and then the 7 others, indicated to the court that there's been an order from the High Court barring the OSP from continuing with the prosecution of that case. And so with this instance, they expect the court to make the orders for the OSP to not continue with the prosecution of the case. But the OSP lawyers themselves were in court, surprisingly, because there are orders for them to stop prosecuting. So it was quite surprising to see them in court. But then they informed the court that they have filed a stay of execution of that order by the High Court. And so they came to inform the court. And so the presiding judge in the matter then indicated that she's going to adjourn the case until the determination of that stay of execution filed by the lawyers of the OSP. And so until that is determined, they'll be back in court on May 26th. And then by then we'll know whether the stay of execution order has been granted by the court that the OSP went to.
Great job. Thank you very much, Lord Edwasare. He's our court affairs correspondent. And speaking of the Special Prosecutor, the minority in Parliament is urging the Office of the Special Prosecutor to immediately file a stay of execution at the High Court to challenge the court's directive ordering the Attorney General to take over all ongoing criminal prosecutions being handled by the OSP. The caucus further wants the OSP to file a writ of certiorari at the Supreme Court to quash the High Court ruling. Addressing journalists, the deputy ranking member on the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee and Member of Parliament for Gushehu, Alhassan Tampoli, expressed the minority's strong opposition to the High Court's decision. And we'll be hearing from the minority as well as our reporter on the ground. But let's bring back highlight of the OSP's response to the ongoing controversy surrounding his controversial powers. And yes, the OSP said that the High Court does not have jurisdiction to, in effect, strike down part of an act of parliament as unconstitutional. It is only the Supreme Court of Ghana which can strike down part of an act of parliament as unconstitutional. Also, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is taking steps to quickly overturn the decision of the general jurisdiction of the court. And the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017, Act 5 at 959 remains valid and in force. Well, that's according to the Special Prosecutor, Kizie Jabing. And he says the matter concerning the prosecutorial powers of the OSP has not yet been determined by the Supreme Court. All criminal prosecutions commenced by the Office of the Special Prosecutor remain valid, and the Office of the Special Prosecutor will continue to proceed with prosecutions based on its mandate under the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017. That's Act 959. So let's get our man on the ground, Christian Yale, who has been monitoring this press conference for us. Chris, what more has the minority been saying beyond what I just said? Hello, Christopher. Christian Yale. Hello. Okay, it looks like we have a challenge with Christian Yale's line, but let's hear what the minority is saying, and then Christian Yale can join us with further details.
The High Court ruling must be immediately challenged, state, and we call on the OSP to immediately appeal the decision of the High Court and immediately also apply for a stay of execution at the High Court. And we dare also add that he must also proceed to the Supreme Court with a writ of certiorari to quash the decision of the High Court. We call on the Supreme Court to expedite its determination in Adamte versus the Attorney General. The Supreme Court question must be resolved definitely and authoritatively by the courts alone, by the court that alone has jurisdiction to resolve it. We call on the Honorable Chief Justice to treat this as a matter of great public importance, warranting urgent scheduling. The Attorney General must be summoned before Parliament to account for his position. It is constitutionally unacceptable for the state's chief legal officer to actively argue against the statutory institution of the Republic in judicial proceedings without parliamentary accountability. The minority will table appropriate questions and, if necessary, move for a formal parliamentary inquiry. We call on President Mahama to come clean with Ghanaians. He cannot continue to claim publicly that he supports the OSP while his own Attorney General argues for its constitutional destruction at the High Court and the Supreme Court. The President must choose, and he must choose publicly. Does he stand with the OSP, or he stands with the campaign to destroy the OSP?
And you had the deputy ranking on the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament and the Member of Parliament for Gushehu, Alhassan Tampoli, speaking on behalf of the minority caucus in Parliament as regards the case of the Special Prosecutor and the Attorney General. Now, the National School Feeding Secretariat is conducting unannounced visits to selected beneficiary schools and caterers across parts of the Greater Accra region. The program's coordinator, Hajia Fati Fogo, has expressed concern about the hygiene standards and the quantity of food being served by caterers. Joseph Armstrong is accompanying the team. He joins us live on the phone with some more. Joe, what more can you report from the inspections so far?
Yeah, so Beatrice, currently we are in Dasiban Basic School here in Nyanyano, and where the coordinator is currently inspecting how pupils are fed in this school. The one issue that came up is the fact that the quantity of food given to the pupils is sufficient and is affecting the kids. They complain of not being satisfied, and these other issues that even the headmistresses and teachers here have all confirmed that the food given to the pupils is not sufficient. And she called on the caterers to increase at least the quantity of food given to the students. Looking at the fact that the school feeding fee has been moved from 1 cedi 50 pesos to 2 cedis, so they should also be able to increase the food for the pupils to eat and get satisfied. Another issue that she raised about the fact that the hygienic nature where the food are being prepared is not good enough, and she has instructed that caterers find a way to cook from the school instead of cooking from their various homes and carrying it to the school to feed the children. So these and many other issues she raised. I've been speaking to her. Let's take a listen to her.
What I've come to see here is that they don't have a cooking area on the premises. That is a kitchen or a shed. The caterer cooks from the house and then brings to serve the children here. I did a follow-up to the house to see whether the environment under which the food is prepared is okay or not. We also came here to see how the food is being served to the children. In terms of quality and the food being balanced, I think it's okay. But in terms of quantity, we've just advised them to see if they can increase the quantity a bit. We all know the grant used to be 1 cedi 50 pesos per people. It's been increased to 2 cedis per people. So we expect that there should be an improvement in terms of quantity of the food that is being served to the children. The head teacher have attested that the food that they prepare here is okay. The quantity is their problem.
And you have Hajia Fati Fogo, who is the National School Feeding Programs Coordinator. Joseph Armstrong, hopefully still on the line with us. Joe, what more can you tell us as regards perhaps which schools they may be visiting, in which parts of the country, and other concerns?
So as it stands right now, she says she's paying unannounced visits to schools starting from the Greater Accra region. Today we are in the Nyanyano Kaswa enclave, where we find ourselves is the Dastiban basic school. Earlier we went to other schools, Nyanyano Basic School. I'm told from here we'll be going to other schools that she's not willing to disclose to even the media because she wants to see how things are done in these schools. Beatrice.
Thank you very much, Joseph Armstrong. He is my colleague currently following the National School Feeding Secretariat as the coordinator pays unannounced visits to some schools under the school feeding program. Some more here, and the national chairman of the governing NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nkatia, has attributed the party's recent electoral success in the Upper West region largely due to internal reconciliation and renewed unity among its ranks. Addressing the chiefs and people of Sisala East as part of his thank you tour of the Upper West region, the national chairman said the NDC historically dominated the Upper West region, particularly in the Sisala area, but began losing seats due to internal divisions rather than voter rejection. Ibrahim Wangara is my colleague who is monitoring events, and he'll be joining us very shortly. But let's listen to the chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nkatia, speaking to the press earlier.
We undertook a reconciliation tour of the region. We came to Sisala East. The divisions were very, very intractable. We did our best. Thank God. Peace prevailed, understanding prevailed. And I wasn't surprised at all when the results came. We were able to win almost all the branches in Sisala East, apart from 3 or so. We are in the process of reconstruction. There are some stages where some people will be suffering, and there are other stages where some people will be winning. We want to talk to you all to exercise patience, that when the economy is properly reset, everybody will benefit. So our party people who are saying we haven't seen anything from the party, I have heard you.
I have heard you, he says. And you have Johnson Asiedu Nkatia, who is the national chairman of the governing National Democratic Congress. Of course, you're aware that he is in the Upper West region on his thank you tour. Let's speak to Upper West region, rather. Let's speak to our regional correspondent there, Ibrahim Wangara. Ibrahim, what more can you tell us about what Mr. Asiedu Nkatia has been saying to the people of the Upper West region?
Yes, according to the national chairman, since his assumption as chairman for the National Democratic Congress, it's revealed to him that the party was having a factional infighting within itself, which was largely responsible for what he described as a needless electoral defeat. It's on this backdrop that he explained the party subsequently embarked on a reconciliation process across the region with focus on Sisala East, where they identified, which was identified as one of the most challenging areas that needed for kind of reconciliation or more attention. He was also along the line addressing concerns of disgruntled or disappointed party members who think that since the party is in power, they have been sidelined or not given much attention. So to this effect, the national chairman explained to them that they should remain calm as the party continues to work towards the right course of action, especially now that President John Dramani Mahama is focusing on the resetting agenda. We can take a listen to the national chairman as he addressed party members and that of chief in the Sisala area.
Wangara, we've already listened to him, but if you can tell us what next Mr. Seydou Nkatia is expected to do in which areas?
Yes, Seydou Nkatia happens to be in the Lambuse community or Lambuse district this morning, and from there he's expected to move to Nandong, Laura, Jirapa, and that of Nadole Teleo district. Tomorrow, God willing, he's expected to be in Wa, where he will be moving to the Fiema Guse Isa district, specifically Guse. From there, he will move to Wa West district, where he will be meeting chief and party members within the Durmo community. After which, he's expected to go to Chako in the Wa East district, and from there to Boli in the Wa Central constituency, if I should put it. So that has been his itinerary as part of the thank you tour in the Upper West region.
Wangara, before you go, what has been the general reaction to his visit, though, in your region?
Well, from his entry into the region seems not to be made publicly. People are, in a way, not, they weren't expecting his coming because of the route and then maybe the kind of interaction he's moving with. But by and large, the communities he's visiting, he's always gaining a resounding welcome from both traditional leaders and that of party executives. But if this itinerary is not targeted or moving to the area, places where he's not supposed to visit remain calm, and others are even picking it from the airways about his visit to the region. So it has been 50-50, of course, about his visit or tour in the Upper West region.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Wangara. He's our Upper West regional correspondent. We move to the Ashanti region now, where the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament has begun its second zonal hearing in Kumasi, scrutinizing financial irregularities captured in the 2024 report of the Auditor General. Members of the committee have been raising concerns over what they describe as weak excuses and poor accountability. It's day 2 of the sitting, and our man Ibrahim Abubakar has been monitoring as well. He joins us live on the phone. Ibrahim, what can you report from today's sitting?
Well, Beatrice, day 2 has also, for the committee, they have examined a range of breaches, including payment of unpaid salaries, revenue collection shortfall, and the failure by some assemblies to issue receipts for purchases. In fact, members of the committee have expressed concern about the misuse of funds allocated to persons with disabilities. For assemblies like Banda, they were cited for diverting some of these funds into administrative expenses, contrary to laid down guidelines, and they have been asked to refund the money back to the common fund. Sunyani West as well, the committee directed them to refund an amount of 120,000 Ghana cedis to the District Assembly Common Fund within 30 days. The amount, according to the coordinator or coordinating director, had been taken from the fund to pay ex gratia for immediate past members of the assembly, and the committee says that is not where the money should have come from. It should have come from the IGF, and for that matter, they should ensure that all those monies are sent back to the committee. On the issue of unearned salary as well, for Banda, the same Banda, someone earned 1.9 million Ghana cedis on earned salary for a period of 4 years without working, and they have come with evidence that that amount for now has been retrieved. So in almost all the cases, revenue collectors also, on the issue of revenue collection, revenue collectors were found to be earning more than double the amount they actually generate. This has been raising serious concerns about even inefficiency and possible leakages. So the committee has therefore recommended the engagement of more commission-based revenue collectors as part of effort to improve revenue performance and ensure accountability at the local level.
Which other institutions are we expecting for day two?
Well, so for yesterday and today, they are focusing on the MMDAs. Then from tomorrow, they will be focusing on educational institutions, that's colleges of education, pre-university, and also the universities.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim Abubakar. He's our Ashanti regional correspondent. And from there, we go to other parts of the country. And climate change remains one of the most significant threats to agricultural productivity and livelihoods in northern Ghana. Despite the existence of climate-related policies and frameworks, awareness and understanding of climate adaptation strategies remain low among local stakeholders, especially smallholder farmers, youth, and decentralized government structures. To ensure inclusive post-NAP implementation, the enhanced awareness stimulates dialogue and mobilize stakeholder commitment toward effective implementation. A Northern Ghana launch has taken place. Let's speak to my colleague Nadra Mohammed, who joins us live on the phone. Nadra, how will this initiative help mitigate the impact of climate change in the northern Savannah and northeast regions that seem to be mostly affected?
Oh, yes. So, well, the initiative is really about bringing conversation on climate change closer to the people who are most affected in these three regions. So, for some farmers here, the change of weather pattern is already affecting their yield. So, what it does is that it helps to understand and then also kind of adapt solutions to climate smart farming, and then how to store water, especially during rainy season. So yes, it brings government and then local communities together to understand the policies and then actually implement it on ground. So what they were telling us is that this initiative is something they are willing to do on ground, not just something to talk about or talk over, but they are bringing it closer to the people that will connect both communities and then governments together.
And who spoke at the program?
So yes, at the end of the day, the program was organized by CLIP Ghana and then Youth Empowerment. So the CLIP Ghana advisor, principal advisor to CLIP Ghana spoke after the event.
All right, thank you very much, Nadra Mohammed, who is our Northern Region correspondent. And that's it for the midday news here on Shri FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Log on to shrinews.com for more news. Have a good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. Also coming up this afternoon, Parliament moves to end reliance on imported crude for local refineries.
Once they are closed, I think it's something that Ghana as a country, we need to think very deep about it.
Also coming up, Ashanti business owners urge President John Dramani Mahama to reform distortionary import taxes. I am Bismarck. Also, will bring you details of our headlines and other stories shortly. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. The Parliamentary Select Committee on Environment, Science and Technology says it will consult relevant authorities to ensure refineries in the country source their raw materials locally. The committee was disappointed to know that even though crude is generated in Ghana, entities still import consignment from abroad to refine back home.
As part of its oversight responsibilities, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Environment, Science and Technology taught some refineries to assess their compliance levels to regulations and laws. For entities like this, whose operations have a direct bearing on the environment, it is prudent to mitigate such impact with deliberate regulations. The committee expressed satisfaction with the operations of Century Oil Refinery that refines 2 million metric tons of crude per annum. Chairman of the committee, President Adu, indicated that there will be a deliberate plan to ensure some technological transfer from Century Oil Refinery to the Tamale Oil Refinery tour to boost its viability.
To us as a government, to see if we can leverage on the kind of technology that these people have. There is a big difference between this, what we are seeing here today, and tour. Not for any bad reason. Because the tour was set up so many years ago, their equipment have become obsolete. This is state-of-the-art modern facility. So once they are closed, I think it's something that Ghana as a country, we need to think very deep about it.
The committee further assured that local content participation will be prioritized at all levels of engagement.
Dealing with environmental issues require sophisticated equipment, and so we have identified some pitfalls in the capacity of EPA in terms of equipment to handle the pollution issues. And so we are going to work with EPA to see how we can source for funding to acquire sophisticated machines that can determine the pollution level.
And that was a report on Parliamentary Select Committee initiating consultations to mandate local crude sourcing, ending Ghana's reliance on imported feedstock. Moving on, the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Board says it may lose 40 million cedis of its revenue this month following the reduction of the board's margin on diesel. At a visit by the Energy Committee on Monday, management appealed for the margin to be restored after the Middle East tensions are resolved. My colleague Christian Yali has the rest of the report.
The committee have jurisdiction over both petroleum as well as power. So we started with BOS because they hold our strategic energy security for us. So we decided to visit them.
The tour by the Energy Committee has become necessary following recent global shocks, especially from the fallout of the US-Israel war on Iran. The committee members took time to tour the facilities at the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company Limited. One concern for management has been the reduction in the boss margin, which they believe could go a long way to affect their operations.
We have seriously been hit by the reduction in boss margin. Within this month, we are likely to lose close to 40 million Ghana cedis. And 40 million Ghana cedis off our books is serious business. It means that our operation will adversely be affected. So we are appealing to the powers that be. When the crisis is over, they will restore the boss margin If we lose the boss margin completely, what it means is that we will not be able to replace the existing pipeline.
Despite these circumstances, the Deputy Managing Director for BOSS indicated that there is enough fuel reserve for the country, at least for the next 6 to 8 weeks.
We have 6 depots. All our tanks are full up. They are full up, even though we have sufficient product, we are expecting more vessels to come in. So in terms of petroleum products within this period, up to the next 6 to 8 weeks, we are covered.
Ranking member on the Energy Committee, George Kwame Abuaje, is of the view that if for anything at all, government should consider reducing taxes on petroleum products, especially by scrapping or suspending the 1 cedi fuel levy.
Government should rather reduce its taxes, the government taxes, okay? And let me tell you, it's not only BOST. The other OMCs also, they have reduced their margins, and it's going to affect them. Especially, I have been appealing that the 1 cedi that was added last year on the energy sector levy, the government should suspend that for the meantime.
From the BOST Accra Plains Depot, the committee continued its tour to visit the Sunon Asogli power plant, where I am currently, to also ascertain for themselves operational issues over there, as well as some challenges, if any, that the committee would factor into their recommendations to government as part of shoring up the country's energy mix. The Energy Committee would continue its tour of other power sector agencies in the week and as well as next week. Christian Yale, Sunon Asogli Power Plant, Accra.
This is still Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. Before we go, the Ashanti Business Owners Association, ABUA, has issued an open letter to President John Dramani Mahama calling for a fundamental shift in port policy. The association is urging the government to prioritize structural import tax reform over the current reliance on AI-driven valuation systems like Publican AI. The following 3 Business News Desk report has the details. The Ashanti Business Owners Association argues that the challenges facing Ghana's trade ecosystem are structural rather than technological. According to the association, the current tax framework, which includes import duty, VAT, NHIL, and various levies, imposes an effective tax burden of 35 to 50% on many products. Where tax policy distorts economic incentives, non-compliance becomes a rational response, the group noted. The association warns that relying on AI to enforce high rates are risky, noting it erodes private sector working capital. It also says it increases consumer prices and the overall cost of doing business, and slowing cargo clearance times and increasing demurrage costs. The traders noted the AI system encourages trade diversion to neighboring ports. The letter outlines several systemic risks associated with the application of AI in customs valuation, including lack of transparency and data integrity. The association concludes that while technology can optimize administration, it cannot correct structural policy distortions. Reforming the tax regime, they argue, is the only sustainable way to position Ghana as a competitive hub under the AFCFTA framework. And that was the 3 Business News Desk report on Ashanti business owners urging President John Dramani Mahama to reform what they describe as distortionary import taxes. And that brings us to the end of Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please check out our website 3news.com. Time up for Urban Blend. Please stay.